Hey guys, how are you? Hope you're all doing very well. This afternoon I'm going to be doing a movie review. This movie is a horror film from the USA, English language, released in the year 2016, directed by Todd Williams, and this film is called Cell. So Cell is about the main character. He's waiting at an airport at the start of the film, waiting for his flight. He's talking to his young son, and you can feel that he really misses his son. So then all of a sudden he notices that there are a few people in this airport that are going a little bit crazy. They're nuts. They're basically turning into maniacs and they're starting to kill people. So this guy has no idea what's going on, but the whole situation is escalating to the point where basically everyone is tearing each other apart. So he ends up escaping this airport and he realises that the situation is widespread and basically the whole country is in chaos because it actually turns out that there is a frequency inside people's cell phones that is sending them into sort of like zombie creatures. And so he finds that he along with a few other people are the only ones that haven't been affected by this frequency, so they have to stay off their cell phones, and as they travel across the country they have to try and get to the truth of this frequency and whether or not it can be reversed. And at the same time the main character also wants to find his young son and also his wife. So whether or not he can do that in time, it's something you're going to have to find out for yourself, because that's as far as I'm going with my synopsis. Now my thoughts on Cell. I was actually excited when I first saw this trailer. I realised that it was based on a Stephen King novel. So this is yet another Stephen King adaptation. Now I really like Stephen King adaptations because I feel that Stephen King is a genuine horror writer. He's a horror genius, and I think a lot of his adaptations are very unique and they understand what it is to be a horror film. So I was hoping that Cell would be one of those movies, and the fact that it had Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack was another plus, because the last time I saw these two together they were in the film 1408, directed by Mikhail Hafstrom. Now that is also a film that is based on a Stephen King novel, and unfortunately I haven't actually read both of these novels, but I actually really liked 1408. I thought it was very creepy and it was it almost felt Scandinavian. Although it was made in the United States, the Swedish director had a Scandinavian feel to it, but it also felt like a genuine Stephen King adaptation. So for that, all of that, really made me excited to see this film. But then just before I managed to watch the movie, I saw a few reviews on YouTube, and a lot of these reviewers were absolutely slamming this film to no end, saying that it was hilariously bad, that it is a movie not worth wasting your time on. So for that, I know better than to judge a film based on what others think, but it's very hard to get all of that out of your mind before you're actually watching a film, is because you're actually expecting something absolutely terrible. So I was willing to give this every chance, and I'm so glad I did, because I believe that this film is so much better than a lot of other reviewers are making it out to be. Now each to their own, they're all entitled to their own opinion, but this is a classic example of not judging a film based on what others think. Give this film a shot and maybe you'll come out of it liking it just like I did. Now to start off with, a lot of people saying that this is very cheap. It's a very handheld sort of camera style of film. Now yes it is, because it is a lower budget. Now if it has a mega budget, millions of dollars behind it, then I would be able to criticise the fact that it did look a little bit cheap. But I actually thought the cheap impact that the film had actually made it feel a lot more raw, and it actually felt like you're in a post-apocalyptic world. So if you're going to judge a film and slander it because it feels like a lower budget, then yes, it is a lower budget. So what do you expect? It's like touching a stove when you know it's hot and then complaining that you get burnt. So if you go into a low budget film, then you have to expect lower budget material. And so that, I don't really understand that criticism. I actually thought the handheld camera actually gave it a little bit of effect, and I thought the action sequences, it actually felt like it was a lot more raw and that it was a lot more in your face. Now I know a lot of people don't like handheld camera work, but to me I think it really can contribute to an atmosphere, and I think Cell is a classic example of this. Then there's another review I saw where they were saying that this was hilariously bad, and I failed to see anything hilariously bad with this film. And I actually felt to myself, am I watching the same movie? Now as I said, each to their own. I'm not criticising people for actually saying that this is a bad film, but as I said, this is a classic example of judging a movie based on what you think, because I got a completely different experience from this movie. I thought this is actually a fairly smart film. A lot of other reviewers, they're so focused on absolutely belting a film and flogging it to death, and they don't really discuss the themes that the film tries to portray. And the actual themes to this film are very important to today's society. You've got individualism, how individualism is being corrupted by the majority, and that if you're not with the majority, you're cast out as a leper, and that you are attacked for having your own opinion. And I think this movie really does have that feel to it, where you've got these people who haven't been affected by this phone signal, and you feel that they're the outsiders. And I thought it was a symbolism of individualism and how individualism is frowned upon these days. And then you've also got the topic of our reliance on technology. Now, the other day I was walking through here in La Plata, Argentina, and everyone was on their phone, and I thought to myself, well, years ago you'd never see that, because obviously the invention of mobile phones and how connected we are these days, technology wasn't as advanced years ago, but it just feels like everyone is just connected to the cyber world, and I think this movie, it shows that, and it shows the reliance, and it shows how we're almost like mindless zombies of our own. And so I like that aspect as well. So this is a zombie kind of film, but it actually has themes that you can discuss that do relate to society, and I think that a lot of other reviewers don't mention that, and because they're so focused on absolutely carving this film to pieces. So if you're going to look at it on a broad sense, I think that yes, it does tackle some themes that are very relevant and very interesting. I thought Samuel L. Jackson and John Cusack played fairly well off each other. Now, my only criticism of this film, real criticism, is that I think that the actors were just going through the motions. They weren't really delivering anything that is terribly, requires a terribly high skill level. And I think that the fact that John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson were in this film was a gimmick, because it felt like they were a little bit wasted, that you could have got just any particular actor and they could have portrayed their roles just as well. So I think that John Cusack and Samuel L. Jackson, if you're going to have them in your film, you've got to have more memorable characters, because they just basically had the same emotion throughout the entire film. It doesn't derail it, but I just thought that for actors of this calibre and how well known they are, you could have got a little bit more out of them than you did. But I will say, there is some violence in the film that I thought was very good. There were some set pieces that I thought worked well, and I really love the ending. A lot of people criticise the ending. Now, yes, the ending does look a little bit cheap, but once again, it drives home that theme of individualism. And if you're not with the group, you're not with us, you're the bad guy, go away, you're the leper. And so people who dare to be different, who dare to create their own opinions, are on the outer. And so I think that was basically summed up the film, or what the film was trying to portray. And I think it does it at a very satisfactory level. Now, this is not a film that is going to blow you away. It's not a movie that's going to win any Oscars. It's not a movie that you're going to rush out and say to your friends, go and see this film. But if you are a fan of the zombie subgenre and you want to see something different that will make you think, that will make you realise how we are as a society these days, then Cell is definitely one I would recommend. As I said, there are moments where I felt that it was a little bit wasted and it could have been used a little bit better. But as far as I said, this subgenre is concerned, if you are a fan of zombie sort of post-apocalyptic films and you want something that is going to deliver another memorable experience, then I would recommend you go out there and see Cell. Don't worry about what other people say. Just go into it, judge it for what you want. If you didn't like it, then fair enough. But if you actually like it, then you'll be glad that you didn't listen to all the negativity, because I certainly didn't do that, and I came away from it liking a lot more than other people. So overall, for Cell, going to give it 3 stars. Go out there and see it. Alright guys, that's it for my review. Hope you enjoyed it. Till next time, keep watching movies, and I'll see you later.